Can North banish their demons? Last round's very welcome and overdue return to Friday night football was fast, furious and frustrating. Have North shown they can do it? Can they back it up again but with a bit more polish? And this time, for me, it's personal because I'll be there at Marvel to enjoy the match. Welcome to Up North, a North Melbourne podcast with one Roo supporter talking to another you. This season in 26 has certainly built my confidence, but it's not blind confidence. We've had a few moments over the last two seasons where we thought we'd turned a corner. Round one this year versus Port, the great comeback match versus the Suns in round 11, and going back to the last time we met Melbourne at Marvel in round 3 last year, where a lot of media were saying, this is it, North will never go backwards again to their dim, dark days. Unfortunately, after each one of those 3 matches, our next game has been a disappointment, being flogged by Fremantle, losing to West Coast, etc. So, while North have got better, we do need to prove just how much better we've got. Are they going to be happy with the slaps on the back and a close but no cigar last week? Or are they going to come out determined to show that they're capable of doing that week to week? Big X takes on Gawn this week. Now, I've already mentioned last year, round 3, where we come home with a thrilling 4th quarter. But on that day, X truly dominated Gawn. Hit-outs, contested possessions, clearances. And it was a big factor in us hanging in there and wearing Melbourne down. When we had the return match at the G later in the year, once again pretty close from memory in the 3rd quarter, but Gawn definitely dominated that day and Melbourne run out comfortable winners. So can X again dominate Gawn and give our vaunted but yet to be proven midfield the opportunity to win us the match? Looking ahead to team news, we know there's at least one change this week with Tommy Myers out with concussion. Surely Josh Goda, after 2 strong performances, and everybody I've heard understood why Josh was rested last week on a short turnaround. Surely Josh comes back into this side. Ollie Griffin, he's been the big talk this week. It's been hard to tune into a podcast or anyone talking about North Melbourne this week without the name Ollie Griffin coming up. Well, I love the 14 goals in, 4 games now? But it's his pressure acts and tackling that's won me over. We can't have a player with just the one wood in their bag. They need to have a range of skills to bring and boost our side. That said, 1, Clarko's a very conservative selector, and 2, who genuinely deserves to miss out on this team? The only possible way I see Ollie coming in is if we realise we went too tall last week with Suv, Trenbarth, Darling and Whitlock. But none of them deserve to be omitted. Like, Cooper can't be dropped. Suv, the captain, I'm backing him in. Darling, he's the one that makes most sense. But boy, I'm worried. He's the one person who can genuinely give us a one-on-one contest and at least bring the ball to the ground, either on the wing or in the forward 50. And Matt Whitlock, it won't help him to come in and out of the team for one game here or there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the teams drop a bit later. Listening to supporters over the last week, I understand the disappointment that it feels like our chances of playing in the wild card have gone. I've certainly had it as a dream and even a hope as late as going into the Port Adelaide match, but didn't matter how I played with the ladder predictor this year, I didn't see a way we would get there. That said, even though we do have the toughest run, according to the league, there is still a quarter of the season to go. 6 football matches. And while I said last week, and I still don't see any of these games as probable, I see most of them as possible wins. Starting this week with Demons, backing up into St Kilda, and I'll be curious to see how they go tonight against the Cats. Certainly Hawthorn at UTAS, that is very unlikely given our record there. But then our last few games, the Bulldogs, they're back in their perennial position of people saying how great they are, but they're no chance of the top four. And they've got a few injuries, a couple of big ones there. Even going to play Sydney, listening to Hoyne chat during the week and a few others, Sydney have a soft underbelly if you can get them at the contest. And we showed at Marvel earlier this year that we can challenge them. Whether we're good enough or not, I don't know. Hawthorn and Sydney are nasty. And Geelong, they're having a most un-Geelong-like year, and there'll be no Jeremy Cameron kicking 11 on us this time. So I do believe it's realistic to expect 1, maybe 2, even 3 wins. But it's still mathematically possible to get 4 wins, and there's 4 games there where we're an outside chance, but I think a genuine chance. And how good was it listening to Jai Simpkin over the bye round say this is the first time he'd got to the bye round and actually been in contention for a finals berth. So let's do it this week, boys. Let's prove that what we did against Collingwood last week wasn't good enough, and we can do it again, even better this week. Hold back history until history changes. I like that quote from Daniel Hoyne because it tends to work. We're also at a stage where we need to break some of these losing streaks against Geelong, the Bulldogs, etc. And in my Roo Reckons this week, I'm backing history to change. Nick Larkey, he has never kicked more than 4 goals against the Demons, and he averages under 2 a game versus them. This week, I'm tipping him to grab a handful. 5 goals to Nick Larkey. He's proved he can create the opportunities the last few weeks, and this week he's going to cash in. Just a brief foray into Media Street this week after reading the AFL.com article where they interviewed the Brisbane Lions chairman Andrew Wellington. And he said one of the curiosities to him that we don't discuss as an industry or in the media is the Melbourne clubs and the disparity between the tenants of Marvel Stadium and the MCG. Since Docklands opened, there's only been 2 AFL premierships from the Marvel tenants, and the last one of those was 10 years ago with the Western Bulldogs. And the Marvel tenants only play finals 30% of the time compared to 50% for tenants of the MCG. And this is something I have pondered over the years, just how successful clubs are. For a while there seemed to be more injuries, even when they fixed the sandy surface. And it doesn't seem fair. You know, people, free agents, want to go to the big clubs who play at the MCG each week. And how do the Dogs or the Saints or North Melbourne combat that? The Bulldogs have had sustained success, and maybe they get Zach Butters. St Kilda have gone and thrown the checkbook, and North Melbourne hasn't got there yet. So that's something I might look into a bit over the holidays, but just a curiosity in that interview. All right, just popped on to watch the team selection. It's 6:30, nearly 6:30. Got my glasses on so I can read it. And mid-earn season debut. Bailey Scott. How good is that to see Bailey Scott back? I must admit, when he first went back to the VFL last year, I was a little bit underwhelmed. But he has worked so hard this year. 41 disposals last week against the Magpies. Josh Goda, great to see. But that's 2 in. Oh, Zach Banch with a minor hamstring complaint. Yeah, I did comment on X earlier this week. I was surprised that Foss and Zach weren't mentioned in the Wednesday, Tuesday injury update. What a shame for Zach. He'd had a game or 2. Okay, well, interesting that Zach Banch is out and we haven't gone with a like-for-like forward in Ollie Griffin, but I'm so happy to see Bailey Scott back. I've still got confidence in this 23. They can ensure that Marvel stays our house. Slightly scratched after the Collingwood game, but great to see. So while I think this game's only possible, I am going to back North Melbourne again by 20. I just have confidence with their 23 players we're going to put on the park, and I think Clarko's going to challenge them to play that fast and furious style. Melbourne doesn't visit Marvel often, and it has an okay record there, but nothing to panic us. And I like little statistical oddities. The fact that most teams that have played Richmond have then lost the next week. And who did Melbourne play last week? You guessed it. I mean, it took Richmond and a phenomenal amount of rain to break Josh Fraser's perfect record. And even when we beat Richmond, we still managed to win the next week. But 10-19 versus Essendon, that was a game we should have absolutely shellacked them and banked the percentage, but we didn't. But mostly I'm tipping us by 20 because I believe we are due to convert our chances and stand up, led by our captain Nick Larkey, but also LDU, Sheasel, and down back, Core, Chom. I just have a lot of confidence in what we're able to do. And yeah, maybe I'm a bit biased, hoping I get to see us win. So, I'm Lyle from up north. Thanks for listening in. How do you think X might go against Gawn this weekend? Well, thanks for listening, and until next time, up north!